Going live. We are live. Hello, everyone. It's Katrina here. I'm with a very dear friend, Sabine. I'm actually staying at her Airbnb this weekend, and I've been nagging her for ages to please share a little bit about her work. And so this is the first time you've been on YouTube live, correct?
Correct. Yes, very nervous.
So I don't talk about human design very much, but every now and then I meet customers, friends, colleagues where I look up their human design chart, and when they want to learn more, I want to send them to you because Sabine is a certified human design analyst. I don't know when you first heard about human design.
It's 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I had
2013.
my foundation reading.
So I was about the same time, and then it was a couple of years before I did some of the weekend courses. When did we first meet? Was it?
I think it must have been about 3 years after.
Was it for Living Your Design or ABCs?
I think it was ABC.
ABCs. So there are lots of different levels or different courses you can take, and I got to the end of rave cartography, and I wanted to become an analyst, but I didn't have the time or the capacity. But you went on and did that training.
It was really interesting. Yeah, I was asked, "Why don't you?" And I said, "I'm not sure." And then I said, Christine said to me, "You don't have to do the whole lot. Just start and see how it is." Of course, I was hooked. I started and then I finished it. So I finished my certification. It took me about 4 years. So, I mean, it's part-time study, but it's quite intense. And yeah, it's a quite solid study with IHDS.
Which is the International Human Design School based in America. And I think the IHDS is the main holder of the training, the information. It's the primary certification.
Including Human Design America, they are cooperating. Yes, so they are.
So something I've seen, especially in online business circles, is there are lots of people offering human design coaching who aren't certified analysts. And it makes me feel really anxious.
It is easy to fall into the trap of generalization. When we're talking about human design, it actually is about differentiation. It's a science of differentiation. It is saying we are all uniquely, differently designed. So even if we have 4 types, everyone within it is so uniquely different. And to get all this detail actually is quite a lot of work.
Yes. So I went down the rabbit hole and I did the training like we did. And then I discovered that you can learn about your ideal diet from a human design perspective. So I went down that rabbit hole, and now I'm a daylight eater, I think, for 7 years now. And then I was unhappy in my job at the time. So it was like, what's my ideal work mode? So I got the BG5 analysis and the environment analysis. And then I got my readings for my children. And then I wanted partnership. And there's like layer upon layer upon layer. But I think it's a little bit like in astrology, you can say, I'm a Sagittarius. Every other Sagittarian must be like me. And human design, you can fall into that trap. And that's why when I meet people who are excited about human design, I just don't want to kind of go, I'm not going to tell you anything because I've only gone 2 or 3 or 4 layers down and you've gone 12, 13, 15, 20.
And if people get an understanding of the basic layers, it's really, really helpful and have that correctly presented. You know, since you and I met and since we have experimented, and that's what it is actually about experimenting. It is not an intellectual exercise. You can go tick, done that, tick, done that. You enter into a change program where you experiment with your strategy and your inner authority. And, you know, the change happens slowly. It takes 7 years to change on a cellular level. So, I mean, this is nothing that you just suddenly become yourself, but you notice You've been given, and that's what I love about human design. You get practical tools like strategy and authority, and then you can experiment with it. And of course, then there is more detail available. And in the foundation reading, with the focus is on type, strategy, authority, and of course, what your particular energies are that you are designed with, and the areas where you are learning, where you're open, where you're meeting people. And bringing that all together, it's very empowering. I have, when I do a reading and then you have people going, oh, yeah, I do this. Yep, yes, this is, oh shit, she doesn't know me, but she knows me. No, I don't. I interpret, I read the body graph. That's what I do.
I think it would be kind of fun to pull up a body graph and show
Yes.
what is this
Brilliant
body
idea.
graph we kept mentioning. So I'm going to share my screen and we can see that.
Bring up
Just a
your body
minute.
graph.
It's always a little bit clumsy. Bear with us. Okay, this is my body graph.
And you see, it is a map that gives the position of the planets. It gives you a map. I would call it, it's a road map of the energies that you are designed with. And all these triangles and squares, they stand for certain energies, frequencies. And everybody is different. So here we have Katrina, who is an emotional generator. Her inner authority is emotional, so she can respond in the moment. However, she really needs to feel things out. Take the time. So that's the patience, learning the patience. I think that was...
Still learning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very...
And I've got something interesting in my chat that these numbers at the top over here, the 5 and the 35, are kind of pretty important, right? And when I got my reading done, I was told that the 5 is about waiting and patience, and the 35, which is here in the square, which is the throat, is about progress and change. So it's like kind of a life lesson, waiting for change. Sabine, can we go on YouTube? Waiting for the moment.
Yes, and also it shows quite nicely that for you to be able to express the change that you have been waiting for, you need some other people to come into your life to activate your voice. But I mean, we're going into detail here. I think that's probably
enough.
Yes,
so for people that are interested in seeing their chart and getting a basic guide to what it all means, can we talk about how people get in touch with you and this website here?
Yeah.
Pukahu, what is this?
Pukahu is the place where we live, and Pukahu is a word that I found in the kauri forest up north, and it's the meaning of the ever-returning cycle of life and death. So we are on a small permaculture farmlet within an eco-village here. And on our website, there is a link that takes you to human design. And on that aspect of human design, if you scroll down, there is an ability, a place where you can connect and put your name in. So what I'm offering is put your name in, and if you don't want to put in your full family name, at least put an initial in. That'll be great. Your email address, date of birth, a very important time of birth. And if you're a bit unsure, maybe at least it was in the early hours of the morning or it was in the late hours of the afternoon. It is important to have that information. Place of birth, of course. And then we can arrange a time to meet for a brief introduction, which is free of charge. So you get a feeling of who is she? Is that something I want to do? And I get a sense of you and having your design available. And then we can take it from there. So I think that's really the easiest.
I think that's wonderful. And highly recommend getting in touch with Sabine. I wouldn't be doing this video if I didn't believe wholeheartedly in your work. And I think it's really important that human design be shared by people who've done the training, who are qualified by the International Human Design School and can give that really exact picture of it. One thing we haven't spoken about is the extra training you've done with children. What is that, just to close out?
That is helping parents basically to work with their children according to their design. Now, you have a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum, and when you know that this 3-year-old is that and that type, it gives you much better guidance and clarity how to deal with your child. So there's a lot of detail that I can give children, parents, and accompany them. And I've had friends who I work with and their children, and they were most surprised at what, oh yeah, no, he's doing that anyways. Say, great. But this is just the observation and the cooperation that makes it really fantastic between the parent and the child.
I remember getting readings for my children. They were teenagers, but it helped tremendously. Yeah, and even now, if either of them have a really difficult decision, sometimes I turn my head off and I just ask them some questions. They're both generators, to try and tune into the gut response. Yes, no.
Yeah.
Do you want to move into this apartment?
Yeah.
Do you want to do this job? Do you? Yeah. Sometimes we overthink those big life decisions without actually taking a moment to feel what our body's responding.
Learning to accept and learning to know my body actually has a reaction. My brain, my head is a wonderful tool, but hey, my body knows.
And sometimes my body has me doing things, my head is screaming, no, this is dangerous. Like dangerous in the sense of uncomfortable. But I step into it and I have the most wonderful adventure and meet fascinating people and get interesting work opportunities. So it can help peel away layers of conditioning that keep us trapped. So that is my wish for people watching this. So Sabine, thank you.
Thank you.